Welcome back to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be continuing our little trawl through our new friend, the indirect statement. Now, last time we learnt how to use an accusative and infinitive construction to translate a basic indirect statement. So that's something like he says that it is raining, or he knows the Romans are coming, or they hear that the farmer is angry. Okay? Indirect statements, in Latin they use the accusative and infinitive, and in English they are introduced by a verb of saying or knowing or believing or perceiving or hearing, and are followed by the English word that, and then the indirect statement. Okay. Now, last time we learnt how to do it, and we used the accusative and infinitive, and the infinitive that we used was always a present infinitive active. Okay? Now, you already know two infinitives. You know the present infinitive active, and you know the present infinitive passive. But what we're going to learn now is two more active infinitives. Okay? Latin actually has 6 infinitives. It's got a present, a future, and a perfect infinitive, and those can be either active or passive. Now, we will actually, when we look at the passive infinitives, we will do something on that future passive, because strictly speaking, the future infinitive passive doesn't really exist, but there is a way of creating one. Anyway, we'll deal with that. But for now, we're just going to look at the two new infinitives, the future infinitive active and the perfect infinitive active. Okay, now, to form the future infinitive active, you simply take the future participle, which you may remember, amaturus, or moniturus, or recturus, or auditurus, or capturus, whatever it was, and we add esse onto the end of it to make it an infinitive. Okay, so amaturus esse means to be about to love, and moniturus esse means to be about to warn, and recturus esse means to be about to rule, and so on. Okay? Now, you might say, well, when are you ever going to use such a weird thing as a future infinitive active? And the basic answer is you're going to use it in an indirect statement, in a situation where the indirect statement requires the verb of that indirect statement to be in the future. So, for example, we already know how to say he says that the enemy are coming. Dicit hostes venire. Okay, he says the enemy to come. But if you want to say he says that the enemy will come, we need a future infinitive. And luckily we've just learnt one. So, he says that the enemy will come would be dicit hostes venturos esse. Okay, now see what happened to that venturus business? Venturus, the future participle, with esse stuck on the end of it, creates the future infinitive active. But because it's venturus, that us bit is an adjective ending, goes like bonus, and must agree with the noun it's going with. Okay, so when you're in an accusative and infinitive, it won't surprise you to know that the venturus business got squished into the accusative. Accusative plural because the enemy were plural, and accusative masculine plural because the enemy were deemed to be masculine. And so venturus esse became venturos esse. Okay? So, the future infinitive active, really simple to form, so long as you know the future participle, if you can't remember how to form the future participle, you just go to the fourth principal part of the verb and change to urus. Remember that? So amo, amari, amawi, amartum became amarturus. That was the future participle. And then amarturus esse is the future infinitive. Okay? So that's the future infinitive, and we've seen how it can be used in an indirect statement where the future tense is required. The other infinitive I'm going to talk about today is the perfect infinitive. And again, these are really, really easy to form because you just go to the perfect tense of the verb, so amawi, and then you add double se. What you're actually doing is you are adding esse, which is the present infinitive of sum, but esse on the end of amawi gets squished into one nice little fellow, which is amawisse. And it applies to all the other verbs as well. So moneo, moneri, monui. Perfect tense of moneo is monui. Add double se and you get monuisse. For rego you get rexisse. For audio you get audiwisse. For capio you get capisse. Okay. And indeed for the verb to be, remember, sum esse fui. Perfect tense of sum is fui. You add double se and you get fuisse. Okay. Okay, so what do they all mean, these weird perfect infinitives? Well, they mean to have loved, to have warned, to have ruled, to have heard, to have captured, and the verb to be to have been. Okay? Right, so forming the perfect infinitive active, really, really easy. You add double se to the perfect tense. And then, how do we use them? Well, we use them in an indirect statement where the verb in the indirect statement required a perfect tense. Okay, so back to our friends who are wondering what the enemy are up to. If you wanted to say, he says that the enemy have come, right, they've arrived, he says that the enemy have come, we need the perfect infinitive for that have come. Okay, so we get, he says, deacon, that the enemy, this goes into the accusative, hostes, and then have come, this is going to be the infinitive, but it's going to be the perfect infinitive. So you get weinisse. Deacon, hostes, weinisse. Okay, so there we have it. We've got three tenses now of the infinitive, present, future, and perfect. And that allows us to say, he says that the enemy are coming, dicit hostes venire. He says that the enemy will come, dicit hostes venturos esse. And he says that the enemy have come, dicit hostes venisse. Okay, so let's have a little bit of practice at that then. We are in chapter 4 of the book. And we've got a little exercise here at 4.3. I will give you some more practice. There'll be a link in the comments box below, because I know this does require a bit of practice. But for now, if we do the exercises in the book. So, first one, dicit notas tabernas amare. Dicit, he says. Now you hear he says and you're immediately thinking, I hope, aha, there's going to be an accusative and infinitive. He says that something. And sure enough, you've got notas tabernas amare. He says that the sailors, there is our accusative of the accusative and infinitive. We now look for the verb, which will be an infinitive, and there is amare. He says that the sailors love. Now, what do they love? They love tabernas, inns, okay, pubs. So he says that sailors love inns. Okay, the second one, miles nuntiat Hannibalem trans montes venisse. Okay, miles nuntiat, the soldier announces. Okay, now he announces what? He's going to announce something indirectly, so we're looking for an accusative and infinitive. Miles nuntiat Hannibalem, so the soldier announces that Hannibal. Okay, now what has he done? Let's go looking for a verb which will be an infinitive because we are in the accusative and infinitive construction. So the soldier announces that Hannibal, venisse, has come. Okay, so venisse is the perfect infinitive of venio. Somebody went venio, venire, veni. They added double se to get venisse, to have come. So literally the soldier announces Hannibal to have come trans montes, across the mountains. Okay, so the soldier announces that Hannibal has come across the mountains. Okay, third one. Dicit Romanus castra proper flumen possuisse. Okay, dicit, he says. Romanus, there's the accusative of our accusative and infinitive construction. He says that the Romans, now looking for an infinitive, possuisse, to have placed. So he says that the Romans have placed. Now what have they placed? They've placed castra, their camp, proper flumen, near the river. Okay? Number 4. Credimus barbaros mox Romam oppugnaturos esse. Okay, credimus, from credo, we believe. Okay, now, we believe, it's like I hear, I perceive, I understand, I know, I say, I believe that. Okay, so it's an indirect statement coming up. Credimus, we believe barbaros, that the barbarians, okay, we believe that the barbarians, look for an infinitive, oppugnaturos esse. Okay, so there is a future infinitive, oppugnaturos esse. We believe that the barbarians will attack, okay, literally to be about to attack. So we believe that the barbarians will attack Romam, Rome, and we've got mox, soon. So we believe that the barbarians will soon attack Rome. Okay, and finally number 5, speramus imperatorem auxilium cras laturum esse. Okay, speramus, we hope, from spero, we hope, imperatorem, that the general, okay, there's the accusative of an accusative and infinitive, we hope that the general, laturum esse. Now, laturum, you've got to know your principal parts, of course. I say of course, well you do, you have to know your principal parts. Laturum is coming from ferro. Don't know if you remember this, but ferro, ferre, tulli, latum. Okay, really weird set of principal parts. From ferro I carry. Ferro, ferri, tulli, latum. And latum has become laturus esse. And laturus esse has gone laturum because it's agreeing with a masculine singular accusative word. So we hope that the general laturum esse will bring, ferro, I bring or I carry, auxilium, help, cras, tomorrow. Okay, so we hope that the general will bring help tomorrow. Okay, right, all good stuff. Now, as always, we're going to have to go the other way to check that we've cracked this. Okay, so we'll whack through some sentences going the other way. Right, he says that the Romans are attacking the town. Okay, dicit, he says. That the Romans, now you take the Romans and you put them into the accusative. Romanus. Okay. Are attacking. Now that's going to be the infinitive, and it's going to be the present infinitive because they are attacking. So oppungnare. Okay. And what are they attacking? They're attacking the town Oppidum. So that word's in the accusative because it is the direct object of attack. Okay. So you've got two accusatives. One is the accusative because it is the accusative and infinitive bit, and the other is accusative because it's the object. Okay, so dicit Romanus oppidum oppungnare. Okay? Okay, we'll do a future one. He knows that the enemy will attack the town. Okay, so he knows, from skio, I know, skio, ski, skit. So skit, he knows that the enemy, hostes, okay, accusative plural, skit hostes, will attack the town. Okay, so the town is going to be oppidum again, that's our object, but will attack, we need the future infinitive active of oppungno, so oppungnaturos esse. Okay, and finally we'll do one with a perfect infinitive. He knows that the enemy have attacked the town. Okay, he knows, skit, that the enemy, hostes, that's accusative plural, skit, hostes, have attacked the town. The town is going to be oppidum again, that's accusative because it's the object, and have attacked is going to be using the perfect infinitive, oppungnavisse. Okay, so skit, hostes, oppidum, oppungnavisse. Okay, now I know that's quite a lot to handle there. We've got two new infinitives, a future infinitive and a perfect infinitive. It won't surprise you to know that the perfect infinitive is really, really common. You see it a lot. The future infinitive is not very common, but, you know, very recognisable. Oppungnaturos esse, you know, that whole weird thing. You've got the urus noise to show you that it's future, and you've got esse stuck on the end of it to show you that it's an infinitive. Okay, so they're very recognisable. They're just not particularly common. But the perfect infinitive, really common, and indirect statements which refer to the past are of course very common. He says that the enemy have attacked. We know that the farmers have escaped. You know, you're talking about the past. What's happened? We know that it has happened. So for those, you need the perfect infinitive active. Okay? Right. That's enough for now. Do go away and go over that. I highly recommend you write this stuff down. I always get a notebook and I kind of underline my headings with a ruler and a red bar and make it all look very neat. But your infinitives, you've got 3 active infinitives now that you must learn. For amo, it's amare in the present, amaturus esse in the future, and amavisse in the perfect. Okay, those 3 infinitives active. Next time we're going to look at passive ones, and we're going to do indirect statements using a passive idea. But until then, just hang on to what we've done so far, go over it again and again. As I say, I'll do a few more exercises for you so you can practice these. And any problems, drop me a comment in the box below, and I'll see you back here on this channel very soon.